And here we go. Welcome back, folks. Episode 16 from the M Factor Studios in downtown Jackson, Michigan. This is the A to G Show, brought to you by the M Factor channel. I'm Adam Amble. Thanks for joining us live here on Facebook on yet another gorgeous Wednesday here in J-Town. We got Spitfire coming right up, so make sure to voice your opinions during the conversation. And, of course, a little call the three later. Joining me tonight is Mr. Reliable, Garrett Collier. G, how you doing tonight, buddy?
What's up, buddy? I'm doing all right.
Good. Boy, you had another nice Wednesday evening out there. Jeez, you have to work at the course today, buddy?
I did, but I didn't mind, man. I got to sit on the mower and listen to music and get a suntan.
Oh, fair enough. I wasn't sure if you got out there. It was a little cloudy out early.
It was early, but yeah, we got her done. Got to take care of it.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, we're gonna start off with not a lot of huge headlines going on this last week. However, in regards to Michigan athletics, the baseball squad will be heading out to Corvallis, Oregon region to start their College World Series quest as the number 3 seed in the region. They will be opening against number 2 seed Creighton at 4 p.m. on ESPN 3. So tune into that if you can to root on the boys in blue. G, you think might get into that or?
No. I mean,
not a chance. We talk about baseball before, right?
Yeah. I'd love to watch. I'll be doing something, I'm sure. It's college baseball.
It's tough, especially this early, right? Well,
yeah. I mean, if Michigan makes it to like the round of 8 or round of 16 or something like that, I'll tune in. But prior to that, man,
It is tough, and it's ESPN. Obviously, it's on ESPN.
It's not even on TV, man.
So,
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's
right.
What is that? Just internet TV,
right.
basically. But we're still rooting them on and stuff like that. Always good to see.
Yeah, hope
always
they
good
win.
to see Michigan baseball or Michigan athletics do their thing. So
yeah.
Let's get right into it, folks. Of Spitfire. Again, if you're new to the show, thanks for joining in. This is the A to G Show. Adam Amble with Garrett Collier here at the M Factor Studios. Spitfire is basically random random debates that go on throughout time, basically in the world of athletics and stuff like that. We encourage all of you to join in, give us your opinions. We'll read them right in the comments section. So if you disagree, agree, or just want to share your own opinion, don't be afraid. Go ahead and do it. G, I'm going to let you start off with us first this week. What topic do you want to start off with?
Let's go with. So I feel like in every other, outside of the NFL, in every sport, the GOAT debate is pretty clear cut between like maybe 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the NFL, you've got people that have like 50 different opinions. So I was curious who you think the GOAT is in the NFL.
The GOAT in the NFL?
Yeah.
I'm still going with Tom Brady.
Yeah?
So, yeah, I really have to. I just think in terms of, now that he's played for so long, his stats are going to be ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you got the Super Bowl. That's
right.
Beside the point. Yeah, you got the rings. That's actually funny because I do have something similar to that. Not a GOAT comment, but really what makes we'll get into that. But That was actually my first question, so we'll actually roll right into that. But, yeah, I definitely think Tom Brady. I don't think – stat-wise, he'll be right up there, but that's because, again, like he played so long. And I really think that he just really transformed the game into how players take care of themselves in terms of nutrition, in terms of training. And
the whole TB12 thing is like a huge brand now.
Yes,
where he's doing training and nutrition and rehab and all
he still leads the league almost every year in jersey sales.
Yep.
So
that's true.
You can't. And you think there's a lot bigger stars and a lot bigger, boisterous people. There's a lot of, we'll say, more flashy. Because Tom Brady is not flashy.
No, he's
not
like
flashy at all.
Classy guy.
I mean, do you agree, or what's your call on?
I think he's the best quarterback, but I tend to lean towards Jerry Rice, man. I really do. I always have. He's not a name that I don't think a lot of people throw out, but I mean, his numbers just speak for themselves as far as. I don't think most of his records will ever get touched. I mean,
it's going to be hard.
You saw Randy Moss was dominant for the better part of a decade, whether it was with the Vikings or the Patriots, and he's barely over halfway to the touchdown record. And, and Jerry's got rings. I think he has 3.
Does he have 3 or 4?
So, yeah, he's got multiple rings, so you can't take that. I mean, granted, he doesn't have like Tom Brady does, but he made it to championships and was successful in Super Bowls.
He has had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks always thrown to him.
Absolutely,
that.
That absolutely helps.
That helps, right?
And I mean, even when he at the end of his career with the Raiders, he had a couple more good seasons there with Rich Gannon when they went to the Super Bowl. I mean, he was successful.
That's true. I kind of forget. Everyone kind of forgets about the Raiders years.
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah. I mean, he was only there for I think 3 seasons, but he was successful. They went to a Super Bowl there. I mean, granted, they lost.
That's a good point.
To make a Super Bowl with Oakland at the time was surprising with Rich Gannon at quarterback. And
That's
receiver, you know.
Yeah, that's a real good point though. I didn't think about the Raiders.
Yeah,
when he was there. He had good seasons.
On the other side of the ball, I think 10 years from now, J.J. Watt will be in the debate. If he keeps playing the way he does, it's hard to say because he could continue. He gets injured.
Yes, exactly.
If he can stay
healthy,
I think he's the guy that
he's a freak.
Get in there.
But of course, it's just I think it's very difficult to be the GOAT if you are not a quarterback. If you're not a quarterback,
if you can't score points, you know what
I
mean. It's difficult.
I think back in the day, it used to be running backs and stuff, but the league has obviously shifted to more of a passing league and stuff like that.
No, it absolutely would have been a running back. Maybe 30, 40 years ago.
Because if you would ask me back in the day, it would have been Sweetness, Walter Payton.
And then Barry Sanders maybe.
Then Barry, yep. And then I never really if you're going to count championships and stuff, you got to go with Emmitt Smith, right? Because he had the stats and he also had the rings and stuff. So, it's all when you get in those GOAT conversations, it's all about how do you judge it? How do you judge
criteria is different.
Yes, absolutely. And that's, maybe that should be a question one of these of these weeks.
We should define criteria.
Exactly.
We should make a formula.
Yeah, exactly. What is your GOAT criteria and stuff like that? Or what is your best team of all time criteria and stuff like that? What makes them a good team in your mind and stuff like that?
It's funny you bring up the best team thing. I was at one point I've considered bringing up several times on the show now the best NBA team of all time because right now the Warriors are getting tossed around in that conversation. Yeah, but man, that's just such a tough debate. There's no reason to.
It's so hard.
We could talk about it for an entire episode and we wouldn't come to a conclusion
because the styles just change.
Exactly, the game is so different.
Every era,
and it's just like that in football. You know what I mean? If you want to look at those Minnesota Viking defenses, the Purple People Eaters, or the Steel Curtain. Now all of a sudden it's these crazy offenses. Even I know the Rams lost the Super Bowl last year, but look at that offense was considered revolutionary for the first 15 games they played. This Patriots dynasty is totally different than those Vikings teams and those Steelers
I agree.
teams. It's impossible to judge.
Yeah, it's very difficult. So that kind of leads into the next topic. And again, thanks for joining us on A to G. Let us know your thoughts, guys. We really appreciate the comments and stuff like that. Let us know your opinions on who do you think the GOAT is of the NFL, and we'll go back to it if you guys want to leave some comments and stuff like that. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our next, actually, we got one from Zach French. Thanks for joining in, buddy. Best defensive player, going with Deion or Reggie White. That's a good. Reggie White would be a good one. Deion was a freak too.
I flipped that. Reggie was dope, but Deion was like the entertainer. He was like one of those first guys that
when we were talking about Flash, right? That's exactly. He's got it right there.
He was a showman for sure.
It was Deion for crying out loud.
Yeah,
Neon Deion. Let's go.
Time, man.
Yeah, prime time. That's right.
That's a good call.
So good one. Yeah, good one on that, Zach. Again, thanks for joining us, buddy. So next one, and it kind of leads from that, is a player's worth directly proportional to their championships that they've won. That's kind of a criteria thing, but we're really looking at, we got a lot of players that have won so many championships. We talked about Steve Kerr last week. You know what I mean? Does that make him the greatest? Well, no, of course not.
Right.
I don't think anyone would agree with that.
Well, I think you can look at guys like Mike Trout, Miguel Cabrera,
Barry Sanders.
If you start with baseball, though, because these guys, all just signed, the 3 guys who just signed the 3 biggest contracts of all time, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, Mike Trout, have one thing in common. They've never won a ring.
Yes.
And they have the 3. So I think there's ways that you can be beneficial to a franchise without bringing them championships, right? You can sell jerseys. You can put butts in the seats.
That's what you want, right?
You're there. Promo days where they have your bobblehead. Yeah. At the end of the day, for the franchises, there's absolutely more ways. The players are worth more than just rings. Now, if you're discussing it from a greatest player of all time standpoint, I think that championships are important, but I don't think they're everything. I think it's if you look at LeBron James. LeBron James has been to the finals. And see, that's another thing that I've always gotten tripped up on. Why do people get no credit for making it to the finals and losing in the finals? You know how hard that is? LeBron did it. What did he make? Like 7 finals, 8 finals in a row?
In a row.
Granted, he didn't win all of them, but he was there. He was one of the last 2 teams playing every year. On one of the last 2 teams playing every year for 8 years or 9 years in a row. I don't know the exact number, but
you remember when they almost beat Cleveland, and it was just LeBron. Remember when K-Love went down and Kyrie went down?
Beat Golden State?
Yeah, Golden State.
The first time. Yeah. He was phenomenal. Even in Miami when Chris Bosh was never healthy, it seemed like him and Ray Allen and D Wade almost won an extra ring. It's silly to me that getting to the championship and winning the championship are miles apart in people's minds. And I understand that you didn't get the trophy and you weren't the national champion or the world champion that year, but I think there's still something to be said for the years that you go and lose. Look at Tom Brady. He's how many has he won now? 6.
Yeah.
He's also lost.
No. Oh, he's won 5, right?
Won 5 and lost 3.
Yeah.
He's made it 8 times.
8 times
That's
to the
insane.
Super Bowl.
And people don't.
The Lions have never made the Super Bowl,
right.
folks.
There are franchises. Well, look at the Toronto Raptors. This is their first trip to the NBA Finals in 40 years as a team.
it's insane.
LeBron's been to 8 in the last 9 years, man. Like it's so baffling to me that people don't give teams or players, I guess, any credit for making it to the finals.
And if we were to do criteria, this would be one of the championships would be a one of them.
It would,
but,
absolutely.
But I'm sorry,
absolutely.
if you are, because you still run in, you could go to the flip side of that. You could also run into these dynasties. Look at Karl Malone with the Utah Jazz, right? I mean, great player.
And John Stockton, both of them on the same team.
Yeah, exactly. Great players and no rings.
Patrick Ewing with the Knicks, no rings.
Yeah. You got some awesome players that just have no rings, and we still think they're great. But at the same time, you gotta win the big games, because you know what? You want to be the best player on the best team, and I think that really elevates everyone in terms of their opinion of you. So, I definitely think that championships are.
Do you think they're the most important?
No, definitely not.
What do you think the most important is?
I think it's a mixture. I think it has to be a mixture. Right, you can't go with straight up stats, because then longevity. If you are very above, you're good, you're great, you're not the best. Let's say you're great and you play for a long time, you're gonna have the stats. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, look at Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees is a great quarterback.
I do too.
I think Drew Brees is a top 5 quarterback in the history of the league. Do I think he's the GOAT? No. Will he retire with records in yardage, touchdowns, completions, attempts? Yes. Does that make him the GOAT? No, it doesn't.
I agree 100%.
So I think stats are important. I think championships are important. I think leadership is important. I think longevity is important. But I don't think you can put any one of them on a pedestal above the other 3.
Exactly.
Does that make sense? I think it's
tough. No, I do feel that these people, if like I said, it was directly proportional. Are they worth, if they bring a championship to your team? Of course.
From the franchise's standpoint? Or?
No, I'm not saying money. I'm saying it goes more to the GOAT conversation and stuff like that, to best players. But I definitely think
then that
championships
helps,
is obviously,
it's going to help your case. Yeah. Winning a championship ain't going to hurt your argument at all, for sure.
Right on. So, all right, G, what do you got next, buddy?
Oh, man, I didn't pull anything up. I'm sorry. I got so into that one. So the NBA draft and the lottery just happened and went down. And it got me thinking about some of the busts. We've talked about briefly before, NFL more so than the NBA, the bigger busts. Who do you think the biggest bust in NBA draft history is?
Oh, I already said Milicic or whatever for the Pistons. Darko, yeah. Yeah, man. But I think by far.
Sam Bowie?
See, actually, we kind of did get into this.
We did, and then we had to stop.
Because remember we said like Greg Oden and stuff like that, and it said it was bust, but I went on bust based on them not getting injured, we'll say.
So players who didn't get injured that just were absolutely terrible. And you got Darko?
It's still Darko, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
Do you have Darko just because of the talent that was in that draft? And
oh gosh, there's so many. One, okay, bust because he was the 2nd overall pick, and 2, don't forget we had that draft pick and we blew it because we were really good the year before, but we got that draft. pick.
We had that draft pick, and we could have had Melo or just whoever added.
Golly, D Wade, all those guys were in that draft. It was a great draft. So my thing is, I went with. He was so highly touted. You know what I mean? He was a bust because he was so highly touted, and the fact that the Pistons just happened to, they had a golden ticket.
Right.
And granted, they still won the NBA championship that year.
He's got a ring.
But yeah, it's how about you got anyone else really that really sticks out?
Anthony Bennett from the Cavs. In 2013 to me has always stuck out. It was 6 years ago, and for his career, he averaged 4 points a game or something. I think it's like 4 points, points a game. He played in 50-some games his rookie year and just was never very effective.
Your dad says Jimmer Fredette.
He's back in the league.
Ooh, sorry, Jeff.
Well, he was this year. I mean, he hardly played, but yeah, I think that
Zach French says, does Len Bias count? He never played.
That's dark, man. That's dark. No, but I think Anthony Bennett gets thrown in there. Fredette was like the 7th pick. You know what I mean? Like Adam Morrison was the 3rd pick in his draft. Oh, he just said it. That's weird.
Oh, geez.
That was some weird
like father, like son.
Scott said Kwame Brown. Yeah, Kwame was a bust. Kwame was a bum.
Yep.
He could barely dribble. I don't know how he got picked. I mean, he was 7 foot and looked like an athlete. So they're like, we want him. And he was terrible.
Yeah. Well, again, it's those people that are highly touted.
They look so athletic, man.
And they are just absolute disgraces. Just disgusting.
I try not to pick the guys who went from high school to the pros because that's such a hard jump to make. If you have any level of success, any sort of longevity in the league, to me, you're not a bust at that point. If you were an 18-year-old kid when you came in the league and you can stay in the league for the better part of a decade, you're not as much of a bust as Adam Morrison and Anthony Bennett and
And don't forget, well, I remember that one year. What was there, like 20 high schoolers that came out and stuff?
Yeah,
like
there's
that
been a ton, man.
In one draft. Oh, yeah, we already said Odin.
Odin, yeah. Injuries.
Sorry, Jeff. Yeah, and that was an injury.
Tough.
Yeah, I think he would have been great. So, not great, but he would have been.
Is he still a bust? You wasted a pick.
That's what I said.
From a franchise's perspective, if I'm Portland's GM, that's a bust because I wasted my number one, or was he number one overall?
That's what I said though. I kind of disregarded the injuries and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. Those I don't think you can.
They are busts. Yes, they are busts if you put in the injury aspect of it. Simply because you wasted a pick.
Right.
You wasted. But I'm still saying, like, in terms of the Darko pick.
Yeah, that's just a bad.
He was supposed to be amazing. He was supposed to be the next Dirk Nowitzki.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then what happens? He barely even played.
Why?
He was a pansy.
So much.
Yeah, I really think that was kind of a transition from those great European players that would come over.
Yeah.
We really didn't. All we saw was like Dirk at that point.
Right.
So we're like, oh, he's the next coming of Dirk. Oh, he can shoot. But at the same time, he just didn't have Dirk's winning attitude. He was, like you said, he looked lazy. He looked just kind of derfy with the ball.
I think part of it, too, might have been he went from being the guy on whatever European team he was on to all of a sudden Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace are going to start over you every night, and you got to figure out how to get minutes. And the NBA is a different beast, man. The NBA is a tough place to be successful.
It is, absolutely. All right. Well, we got the next one for you. Again, thanks for joining us on A to G. Thanks for the comments, guys. That was a good round right there.
For sure.
Make sure you guys comment on every topic. If you guys have an opinion, we'll try to call it out, and whether we agree with you or not. You guys bring up a lot of good ideas as well. So we're going to move on. Here's one for you. Kind of I know what your dad is going to say about this. So, okay, what's harder? Hit a 400-foot home run, kick a 40-yard field goal, or run a 4-minute mile? So the battle of the fours. And I know from most of these, it depends. Can I use an aluminum bat with the 400-foot home run?
Yeah, so there's variables involved with two of these. With 4-minute miles, you and whatever you're running on, right? It's you against yourself in a clock. But with the home run, who's pitching?
Good call.
Is somebody lobbing out BP to me? Because I think eventually,
call.
if you give me enough swings at BP, I'm going to hit one hard.
Good call. Very good call.
A 40-yard field goal, how many tries do I get? Is it one try?
I bet you could kick a 40-yard field goal.
I could. I mean, I'm not trying to be arrogant. Like, I played soccer, and like we used to, after practice, we'd always run down to the football field and kick field goals.
Even I could, straight-toed and all.
I think for me, for the 4-minute mile.
I agree. I would 100% agree. What do you guys think? Jeff, we already know your answer.
I think that
I would say it goes like this. Most difficult, 4-minute mile.
Yeah.
Especially as a runner.
Right.
4-minute mile.
Then
400-foot home run.
400-footer.
And then easily a 40-yard field goal.
The weirdest part about that is there are NFL kickers who miss 40-yard field goals all the time. And that's their only job.
Like you mentioned, though, G, how many opportunities you get.
That's
right?
true.
How many opportunities?
Yeah.
Because you're right.
I think you got to. So you got to say, like, you get.
Alex Watson says 40-yard field goal is the hardest. So.
And I think if you're running. I mean, I think the 4-minute mile is still the hardest, but I think you can make an argument that 40-yard field goal is harder than a 400-foot home run if you're only given one chance to kick the field goal.
Okay, yeah, good call.
If it's like, hey, we're going to put the ball, you got one shot at a 40. Remember when the Bears lost because Cody Parkey missed, what was it?
Yeah, and they had tryouts at free beer if you could hit like a 40.
Make it, 0 people made it.
That's a lot of pressure.
And that was way shorter than 40 yards.
For free beer, I'd much rather have the pressure of going to the Super Bowl than than free beer.
I just think that if you give somebody 5 shots at a 40-yard field goal, it's not as difficult. But if they only have one shot at it, I think it's a lot harder than people think, for sure.
Okay, so if we're gonna have one shot, that maybe that's what they were getting at, because you get one shot at a 4-minute mile, you know if you can run a 4-minute mile.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If you're running 352,
you're
gonna if you're running like a 356 mile, you're gonna be like, all right. 8 times out of 10, I'm going to be able to run.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to have a bad day.
I think the only thing that makes the 4-minute mile difficult is that is like an elite thing. Like
that's what I was thinking. I was like, a 4-minute mile
is not a long field goal by NFL
high school.
standards.
Like there's a kicker on every high school team that has a kicker.
Right.
That can hit a 40-yard field goal.
A 400-foot home run is pretty rare, but I mean, there's one once or twice a week in the NFL. Or in the MLB.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not 4-minute miles every day. I mean, at every professional track meet, there might be, 5 or 6 guys that can do it? You know what I mean? It's not something that just anybody can go out and do.
I don't know. You'd have to ask your dad on that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would have no estimate on how many people can actually run a solid 4-minute mile.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'd guess it's a double digits. It's not triple digits. You know what I mean?
He brings up a good point. Jeff says, what year was the first 40-yard field goal? What year was the first 400-foot home run?
That's a good point.
Way before the 4-minute mile, yes. And that's kind of what we're saying, Jeff, is exactly
I think
that.
hands down, the 4-minute mile has got to be.
Right, and exactly. And it really is unless you get one chance. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you were to say, all right, go out there and run a 4-minute mile, well, of course, I already know I can run a 4-minute mile. Okay, go out and run it. All right, you get one chance to kick a 40-yard field goal. Yeah, okay. Like you said, there's even pros that miss a 40-yard field goal. So,
right.
And obviously, a 400-foot home run, that's still a monster home run.
Exactly.
But if you have on one home run, you get one home run, it's got to be 400.
400-footer?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So, all right, buddy. Well, thanks again for joining us, guys, and some other good comments and stuff like that. So let us know what you guys think. Thanks for joining us on A to G tonight on Spitfire. Adam Amble with Garrett Collier. Thanks for joining us live on Facebook. Let's hit up the next question, G, or the next debate.
Yeah, so you posed the question to me at one point, if I could be any athlete, whose life would I want?
Ooh, any athlete, okay.
Now, I'm going to ask you, if you had to play a team sport, a professional team sport,
okay.
What team would you pick? Now, this is tough because you have to consider location, GM, head coaching.
I'm going through all of that in my mind right now.
There's a lot going into it. So... where are you going? What sport are you playing?
Oh, gosh. It'd almost be what sport first.
Right.
And it's got to be a team sport. It doesn't have to be the big four, right?
No.
Okay.
You can play cricket if you want. If you want to move to
that.
India.
Yeah, I'd be in
Mumbai.
No. Just no.
Any sport you want.
Oh, that's a great question. Boy, I'd have to go. Okay, so I'm going to go with, you consider... See, for me, I would just love the sport. Do you consider NASCAR a team sport?
Absolutely.
With Pitt?
I mean, yeah,
okay.
I guess.
Just a question because I know a lot of, it is mostly about the individual in NASCAR, but you still have, the pitting and stuff like that would be, so an F1 driver would be insane because you get to travel across the world.
That's
true. It's a ritzy, you get the adrenaline going, but a lot of people don't like that, Yeah. Obviously, we talked before, golf would probably be the best, but that's an individual sport, right?
Yeah, that was more the reason I said team sport, because I'm thinking so I would pick a soccer team, but I would pick somewhere cool in Europe. I'd want to play for one of the London, or if I was
a Man U or something like that, or just
I would pick Arsenal,
European,
my
Arsenal.
Team.
Okay,
but what I was thinking was if you pick the NFL, what team are you gonna play? Then you have to think about personnel wise, I would not want to be. I love the Detroit Lions. They would be one of the last franchises I would pick to play for. Then you
say Patriots. You're you got cold weather
Boston,
and stuff.
I think I'd go play for somebody that sucked in Florida, like Miami or the Bucks, either one, because you have no pressure to be any good. They suck every year.
Okay. What about someone like the Rams out in LA?
You got to pay. I don't know if I love LA though. Maybe the Titans in Nashville for me because I love Nashville.
There you go.
I have such a Nashville.
And they're decently ran team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not the Lions. You know.
Yeah, they've got a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it'd be cool to be, to be honest with you, I hate to say it because I don't care much for them. The Cowboys.
Yeah.
Playing in Jerry's World, it's a really good, well-run organization. You get the cash, you get the publicity, the media's all over you. It's America's team, right? I've never thought of them as it, but boy, I tell you what, wouldn't that be something? That would be.
It would be cool to play in that stadium every Sunday.
So if it was football, the only problem with football is then I go to injuries, and it is a collision sport.
Short shelf life, yeah. I think football would be the last. I'd pick baseball, dude.
The problem is the seasons are just too long.
I don't care.
I mean,
I'll play left field.
You're working. I mean, you're working every day.
Field. I don't care. I'll play left field, man.
So that's the only reason I wouldn't pick baseball.
I'd pick baseball.
A long. Tom Horvath says Japanese baseball.
Oh heck yeah! Play for one of those Japanese teams in that in one of the major cities out there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, dude. Baseball's so easy on your body. You can play forever.
It really is. But remember we discussed that before, how often those guys get injured, for crying out loud?
Exactly. You don't really end up working every day. You spend half the year on the DL.
Oh, exactly. And some of those guys, they get the most ticky-tack injuries and whatnot.
I'm going to mess up the player. Somebody for the Astros just got a rib a sprained rib from a massage he was getting the other day.
Well, you got to watch out for those massages.
Yeah,
It's pretty rough.
It's
pretty rough.
But yeah.
I'd go with I'd go with the baseball is probably the Japanese baseball is actually really good. That's a good call. But I would go with baseball simply because it is a little more relaxing,
easy
low
on
key.
your body, man.
But
you're not going to get into like a contact injury. If
yes,
you get hurt,
collision,
like
a collision
strain
injury,
or a pull.
Personally, I would go with like an F1. I would go with F1 because I like the intensity. I want the intensity. Yeah. You're working one day, and those races aren't that long. You know, they're only about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Yeah. It is intense.
Did you watch the Indy 500?
Oh, heck yes, I did. The whole thing. It was great.
Laps were crazy.
Oh, he passed him on the back stretch.
They had like 4 lead changes in the last few laps. Yeah,
weird.
That was wild. Yeah.
And Zach French says, and you can be a Yahoo, and yes, always fit your back. Always fit your back. I.e. Zeke. Yeah.
Oh, back to the Cowboys.
Yeah, back to playing for the Cowboys, which I think that would probably be the best NFL team if you're looking at all of those things. They're always. I mean, they've won the NFC East.
I don't want to listen to Jerry Jones in meetings twice a week.
He's kind of lighting up, but he's loyal to you. I'll tell you what. If you are a good player for him,
he loves Tony Romo when everybody else hated him.
Oh yeah, he loves Dak. He's probably going to pay Dak.
Yeah,
you know
that's true.
Regardless, so all right. Well, let's move on. Again, thanks for joining us, guys, on the A to G show. Again, leave us some comments on the opinions that you guys have and whatnot. We really appreciate them. We'll try to read them out loud here. So here's another we'll go back to the NBA on this one.
Okay.
Is the NBA lottery draft the best draft method? You hate it? Do you hate it?
I hate it. It's so dumb. It's the only sport that has it still, I believe.
Oh, yes.
Why? You're the only ones.
Just devil's advocate here because I don't care much for it either. But it's to keep teams from tanking.
Is it working? Not at all.
The Knicks pretty much tanked at the end of the season this year on purpose.
Exactly. And they didn't still get so.
That's why they don't do it because then that's why they keep the lottery.
But I'm saying it's not working to prevent teams from tanking. They're still tanking.
Right,
but the Knicks tanked this year. The Pelicans tanked this year. The Lakers tanked this year.
It keeps it in the back of their mind though because everyone thought that the Knicks were going to get
5 teams tanked in the NBA this year.
Better than half of them. Better than half of them
would, because you still get all the playoff bonuses.
If you get Zion in there, yeah, I guarantee half of them would be tanking. But like the Lakers got. I don't know how they. There's another question: is the lottery fixed?
Yes.
I agree.
Probably.
Well, actually, no, because the Knicks should have got the Knicks and Zion would have been amazing.
The Knicks will
be
fine. The Knicks are going to get Kevin Durant. They're fine.
I know, but you get to everyone and their brother wanted Zion to go to the Knicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The lottery's silly,
just for the brand
just make it based
and whatnot.
on record. That's like, look at how the NFL does it. Is anybody tanking in the NFL? I don't think so.
It's tough in the NFL. It's a good question.
I don't think anybody's.
A lot of them. A lot of them will bench the QB and stuff like that, which is smart in my mind. You don't want to injure them for crying out loud.
No reason to get injured if you're eliminated.
I guess it's hard to compare NFL with NBA because NFL. You sit your players if you're not gonna You got to rest them. It's a totally different sport. It's a totally different risk. Right. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I guess I don't mind tanking. To me, that's strategic, right? I mean, it's part of the game. If you can tank and get a good draft pick and then be good the next year, good for you.
Fair enough. I just think it sucks for the fans. It definitely sucks for the people that buy those season tickets.
Yeah, and that's fair.
And here's another one
for somebody else.
What do you think about? Not to go off this subject, but kind of the same thing. What do you think about NBA players that like sit the games and stuff like that for rest and whatnot?
If it's in their contract that they're allowed to do it, good. If a GM decides that he doesn't want players on his team resting, put it in their contract. If you're healthy, you have to play.
Fair enough.
You're not going to get any free agent.
I just think it's a bummer for the little kid that gets to go, that is so hyped to.
It absolutely is. But here's the thing. The NBA is so based on getting to the playoffs. If you can win 43 games and get to the playoffs, then rest the guys in the other 30. You know what I mean?
You should be able to see that, though. I'm talking, quarter of the way through the season and stuff like that. We got a couple of comments here. For sure. Zach French, it's rigged for the big markets. It's only this year has it played out like this.
Completely agree.
Yep. Thomas Horvath, the NBA regular season is irrelevant. The Final Four rarely changes. At the very least, the players are the same. That's also very true.
The last decade, that's been really true.
And I believe Zach French says, I believe the Pelicans are still partially owned by the NBA. Remember, Chris Paul to the Lakers deal was overturned. That is also true.
Yeah.
So that's
another funny thing that the league has control over trades. I mean, Adam Silver has been pretty hands-off and has allowed pretty much everything to go through, to be fair. That was a David Stern trade that got declined. But, yeah, I just think the lottery is silly. I think if a team wants to tank and try to improve through the draft, that's great. they're not going to go out and sign 4 big name free agents that year. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with it at all. If that's how you want to get good, go for it. It doesn't seem to work. I can't think of any teams that have tanked and won a championship in the NBA. None of the teams that have won a championship.
I guess a lot of times we don't know if they're tanking or not.
The closest I can think of is the 76ers.
That's what I was just going to say. The 76ers.
They're good again now.
The process, right?
They're good again now. It's a process, right? But they're not going to win a championship.
And their one draft pick was a bust. What was his face from Washington? A couple years, the number 1 pick,
Markelle Fultz.
Fultz,
yeah, but they had a bunch of other good picks. Ben Simmons, great pick.
That's what I'm saying. Like they actually had a bust though because they were drafted
was a good pick. He's actually
pretty good.
Pretty well for New Orleans. Yeah. So yeah, they're the one team I can think of that has tanked and been successful, but they don't have a ring. They haven't even been to the Eastern Conference Finals. So.
They are young, and they're going to have to pay those guys. Yeah,
let them tank. I don't know. I don't see an issue. I don't have an issue with it.
What do you got, G?
I would say staying on basketball, the whole one and done rule. What are your thoughts? Will it change? Should it change?
Yeah. I think it should change.
To what?
The kids should have an absolute right to go make money.
Yeah. Did you see RJ Hampton is going to play New Zealand?
Yeah, I did.
Number 5 overall recruit. Going to go play pro ball.
I did see that. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. These kids. You shouldn't. That's a dictatorship. You should not be forced to go to college if you don't want to go to college. Go do something else. Yeah. The NBA should absolutely say, guess what? If you're a legal adult, you can come play in the NBA, you know what I mean? That's for liability purposes, not because.
No, right.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think kids should do that, but I don't think it's not the NBA's job to dictate.
LeBron absolutely had no business going to college. It was great for him to go right to the pros.
That's what I'm saying, G. That's what I'm saying. I don't think some of these kids are not ready to go to the NBA.
Right.
You know what I mean? But a lot of times, because of this rule, they have to go to college and they got to mature a little bit. You mature in college, right?
Absolutely.
About 95% of these guys will mature in college because they should stay at least 2 years.
I think that there should be, and this has always been my thought on it, it should be just the same as football. Why are the rules different? Is that, obviously it's because the NFL and the NBA are in charge, not the NCAA in that department. Yeah. But to me, if you never really see guys get in trouble with like their maturity level is they're either by the time they're out of college in football, they're either an idiot and they're making dumb choices, and NFL teams their draft stock plummets, or they've wised up in 3 years in college and they're ready for a professional life as an athlete with millions of dollars. I think that would be wonderful for the NBA. You see a lot of even these one and done guys get into a lot of trouble their first few years in the league.
I agree.
Because they're not ready for it. They're 19 years old.
I agree. Yeah, they're 19-year-old millionaires.
On the flip side of that coin, there's LeBron James,
that's why I said 95%. 95% of these
Kevin
kids
Garnett,
need to go mature.
But that 5% deserve the chance, in my opinion, to go pro right away. So it's such a hard thing.
But they were, they were mature. I mean, think about LeBron, Kobe, KG. We were hearing about those guys in high school. You know,
right? That's what I'm saying. Though there are the exception to the rule. So like, how do you monitor that? How do you who
like I said,
be able to determine that?
In terms of running your league, I absolutely disagree with the NBA's choice to force these kids to go to college, or they can't go to the NBA, right? They can't go to the NBA.
Right.
From the player standpoint, I think they should absolutely go to college. Like I said, 95% of them. You know, there's always those diamonds in the rough that we'll see. Of course, never always 100% of them. But I feel 95% of them are not mature enough to go to the NBA.
Right.
Are not ready to start living on their own and become millionaires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like I said, you go to college to mature and stuff like that. Your body and your mind, that's where you're out on your own. You're not at the parents' place or anything anymore. You're not a god, at your high school anymore. And a lot of these guys are, but
I just think that, it's so hard to tell these kids like, oh, you're worth $4 million on your first contract, but you can't go get it. Sorry. You got to go to college for 2 years.
That's what I'm saying. That's
NCAA has you on a rental program essentially at that point. And that's super frustrating. I mean, you hear these stories about, even guys like Arian Foster in the NFL who played in college football said his coaches were having to buy him food because he couldn't eat. When he could have gone to the NFL 2 years early, had 2 years more to make money in the NFL, potentially, obviously injuries, and he might not have been ready, whatever. But, it absolutely is just an opportunity for players to make more money if the rule goes away. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
I agree. We got a couple of comments here, Scott Uleberry. Players should be able to go to pro if they think they're ready, and there's a team willing to take them, regardless of age or sport. I think we're on the same page with that, of course. Yeah. Zach French, I think if they choose to go to college, they should have to go 2 years. But if they choose to go pro out of high school, let them. I think everyone is kind of pro. Well, hold on. Let's see. Tom Horvath, think about conditioning. When it comes to playing right out of high school, the player is accustomed to being the best athlete in town, not equipped to play against the big boys.
That's true. A lot of times
That is true.
A lot of times that these guys get to that level and they need a year or two to develop. So, but that's where the rules should come into play. Like you have the choice, and if you go to college, but the only issue that I have is the one and done thing. You shouldn't be able to just have a 1-year rental stop like Zion and RJ and Cam. I'll just sit and do
because
That's
I think
silly.
It's kind of pointless.
Exactly.
There's no reason for it.
There needs to be either you go pro now or 3 years, just like the NFL rule. I have no problem with that.
Scott Huber, female tennis players and golfers go pro super young. And then
so do soccer players, so do lacrosse players, all across every other sport other than football and basketball.
Then your pop says 17-year-olds do not belong in the NFL.
Yeah, man.
It's a tough one. Now, here's another one for you, because the only other sport that I can think close to the NFL would be NHL hockey. And you have, the OHL and stuff like that, where you could go.
Weird. I know some guys that, like, when I was living in Utah, I had a buddy that he was a really, really good hockey player. He went and played in Canada, and it's called like juniors or something like that for 2 years. Then came back to the States and played college for 4 years, and then was in, it's not the OHL, it's one of the leagues out west. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, they bounce around like crazy.
They do.
In hockey.
And they go
goofy.
And don't forget, the juniors, those guys are insane. They play those games on international TV and stuff like that.
No, he was playing against guys in juniors that were getting ready to go to the NHL.
Yeah.
And then he came back to play college at 20. He played for 3 years in college. He was 23 when I met him, and now he's in the NHL now. But
I mean, I can agree with your dad too on that one, simply because I don't think your body is ready to rock those guys.
But, there's a handful.
You might exactly. There's 5%.
There's always exceptions to that to every rule like that. I've seen pictures of some of these running backs. I can't remember who it was. One of Kirk Cousins, the old state quarterback, tweeted out. I was wondering.
Why you gotta
just listen? He tweeted out a picture of him at 17 next to, I want to say it was Trent Richardson at 17. He goes, "No wonder I didn't get any D1 offers until my senior year."
Right,
and it's because he didn't look like Trent Richardson. Trent Richardson was 220, juiced to the gills.
He was a monster
at 17 years old.
Yeah,
and at a position like running back. If you can go right out of high school and you add 3 years that what you would have spent in college making millions of dollars playing football, who are we to tell these kids that they shouldn't be able to do that?
I agree. I think everyone's kind of in agreement, except for maybe your dad.
You know what? The only other thing that I would compare it to is if I'm a brilliant mathematician and someone is willing to give me early college admission, I get through college and I get placed at a job at 17 years old. There's no sort of governing body that says no, you can't do that.
That's kind of the point from.
If I'm a great musician and I'm 12 and somebody wants to hire me to play violin in some orchestra for $1 million a year, there's no governing body telling me no, you're not allowed.
It's very
to do
true.
that.
The only thing I would say that's different is obviously your body is ready to go. If you're a mathematician,
if they're 17, their parents have to sign a waiver.
Well, of course.
I don't know.
Well, I still think you have to be a legal adult.
Yeah, I think you'd have to have graduated from high school.
Maybe that's my one stipulation on that rule. Please be 18, because you have to be
able to consent that your body is whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So thanks for joining us. What was that? The one and done rule?
Yeah.
There, G. Let's move on. We got time for one more subject before call the three. Let me pick out. I got a couple of fun ones here. But what do you think, G? Is it a punk move to bail before shaking hands after a game?
Well, at what level?
Ooh, man, we might have to go with all of them.
Because here's in high school, it's very you're almost required. I've played sports in high school. All my friends played sports in high school. I went to plenty of games. I've never seen kids get away with bailing. If you bail, you are punished.
I've seen individuals, never the whole team and stuff like that.
I've seen individuals.
I've seen individuals walk off the court, and it almost causes a fight.
I've seen that, but they've gotten in trouble for it. They've been punished. So yeah, obviously it's not cool at that level. In college, I think it's the same. I think you're still technically a student athlete. We can get into that argument a different day, but you're representing that school. You know what I mean? You're expected to behave a certain way. You absolutely should still be shaking hands after him. But if you look at the NBA, if you look at the MLB, if you look at the NHL, if you look at the NFL, they don't always shake hands at the end of the game.
Not always. Yeah, they're supposed to.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, they're supposed to, and I guess devil's advocate to that is we got to set a good example for the youth.
But I'm saying in the NBA,
I'm just saying, do you think it's a punk move?
to leave before the game is over, or just to not shake hands?
Just to not shake hands.
Not at all. No.
Especially as an individual. Especially if your team's out there shaking hands and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's so circumstantial.
A punk move. Not do you have to or not.
I think it's circumstantial. I think yeah, if you just fouled out and lost the game by 1 and you're just being a crybaby, you don't want to go shake hands, then yes, you're being a punk. But if you just got blown out by 15 and you don't feel like going to hang out with some guys you just got your butt kicked by, then go back to the locker room.
Fair
You're
enough.
a professional. Yeah. I don't have to. If I'm again, compare it to. I think so often we put sports in like this bubble, like it's not real life. Compare it to like if I'm a stockbroker and somebody just bought a bunch of stock and flipped it and I wasn't able to do it, do I have to go shake his hand at the end of the day before I go home? No. It's such a silly thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, not a lot of kids are watching stockbrokers do stuff. And to be honest with you, G, I will put sports up there on a pedestal because it is so watched. It is so advertised. It's so much money. It's people that we look up to. There are certain things that there's certain things that
53 players after every NFL game.
There's probably what's that?
If I'm Tom Brady, do I have to go shake hands with all 53 players in the Lions after I beat them by 40?
I wouldn't say that. No, and I'm not saying that.
So if I'm Tom Brady and I just go shake Matt Stafford's hand and then I dip and go to the locker room, am I a punk? Or am I just like, hey man, I ain't got time to shake 53 people's hands. I'm Tom Brady.
No, because I guess the question was never shake everyone's hand.
When I sneeze, $100 bills come out. Like
I'm saying when the end of the game is, you just run off the field and nothing. Let's see, what do we got here? We got. Let's see, Jeff Collier. Jeff Collier. Why would you not shake hands? I assume that's a question. Zach French. If it's a huge upset in college, I have to say get the team off the court. Safety concerns. That's a good point.
They always be storming the floor.
That's a good point because the fans
always shake hands first though.
The fans rush the court though. So get out of there. That's a good point. Tom Horvath. Soccer shakes before, and if it's a respectable match, the shake.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Soccer does a cool thing before the game.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, in high school and college and stuff, even at the professional.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Before and after.
Yeah.
I think the jersey swap has kind of calmed the post-game tension down. If you notice, I mean, like, so Dwayne Wade this year, everybody knew he was going to retire at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I think football and basketball have taken it from soccer, actually, where they'll just swap jerseys at the end of the game. So Dwayne Wade, it was his last game. Anytime whoever guarded him that game, he genuinely gave them. That's
respect right there.
Exactly.
And that is something
the NFL has become super popular as well.
Even as an adult, I look up to that. You know what I mean? I was like, that's awesome. Great job.
To battle with a dude for 60 minutes and then, swap jerseys at the end of the night. It's pretty cool.
All right, right on. Well, we are going to move on to Call the Three, folks. Thanks for joining us again on the A to G show here on this beautiful Wednesday evening in Jackson, Michigan. I am Adam Amble with Garrett Collier. Again, this is the A to G show. Make sure you comment. Thanks for all the discussions and stuff that you guys are we really appreciate it. It's been a good time so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Into our favorite segment though of Call the Three. G, I'm gonna go ahead and go first this week. I know you've went first in the last couple weeks.
For sure.
So my first one is there's been some great skits, movies, commercials, etc. with athletes in them. Who is or was your favorite athlete, actor or actress in all of this?
That's so hard.
I can think of at least two that I really enjoy.
Ray Allen is Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Oh, I like it. That's a good one. That's a great one.
Such a good movie with him and Denzel.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the first one that came to mind was Troy Polamalu in those old hair commercials with Head and
Those
Shoulders.
are great too. Yeah.
I don't know why that was the first thing that came to mind, but I think Jesus Shuttlesworth is probably my favorite.
Okay, right.
What about you?
I'd have to go with I love Peyton Manning in the Big Brothers or whatever, Big Sister, the SNL skit.
He's doming the kids.
Yes. Or the United Way or whatever it was.
In the porta potty.
You
know how much trouble you'd get in if you put that out now in 2019?
Oh my goodness, I know.
And that was only like 6 years ago.
Oh, I think Peyton Manning does a great job with that one and stuff.
He's good in those Nationwide commercials with Brad Paisley now too.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
the Nationwide ones. What were the ones? Oh my gosh. Oh, I forget. It was the credit card commercials. He always was a couple years ago. Yep, wow. Peyton was the star of those too. Let us know, guys.
Peyton's just out here getting money.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't care how he gets it. He just wants money.
Yeah. Also, I do like The Rock and a lot of in terms of acting and stuff like that. I think
for sure.
He's not going to win an Oscar, I doubt, but that's pretty good. Okay, so we mentioned, when was it? Last week, I believe, during the summer. Not a lot of stuff to watch. We're kind of in a dead period. However. We did mention like when the Olympics, like the Summer Olympics are on and stuff like that in the summer. Now, out of all the Winter or Summer Olympics, I know you've seen a few less than a lot of myself and a lot of our viewers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, what has been your most memorable Olympics and why is that? And before you answer, we got Zach French, likes of Peyton Manning. My mom. Hi, Mom. Welcome back home. Peyton is the best. They're really liking the Peyton ones. So.
I love Peyton, man.
Yep. So, sorry. Yeah, what's your most memorable Olympics?
Oh, man. There's a couple that stick out.
Or maybe most memorable Olympic moments even would be
I was going to say, moments-wise, it's easy for me. It's the first time that Usain Bolt won the 100-meter in the world record time. I don't know why I became such a big fan of his just prior to that Olympics. And, like, the year leading up to it, I started following him, like, where he was racing on weekends and where he was training and who he was training with and stuff. And I just got super into it. I mean, I was running track at the time in high school.
So it was a big deal. Yeah.
I was young, and it was 08. So,
I was
I'd have been in middle school.
Running track in high school, folks.
I just got super into it. And then so to watch him run the 100, 200, and 4x1 and get 3 gold medals. And then he did it 2 more times. So for some reason, the 2016 Summer Olympics, my sister and I had just moved into this apartment in Utah. We didn't have a TV. We didn't have cable or anything, and we just streamed it all on my computer and her computer. We had just gotten jobs, but she hadn't started school yet, so we would just sit in our living room, had nothing to do except watch the Olympics. So we watched,
which is cool. We
watched everything, like the qualifying of like equestrian. We're like, we don't know dick about what's going on right now, but we're gonna watch it because we had nothing else to do.
Well, I bet you got your full fill of events though.
Oh, I was ready to be done with. By the end of it, I was like, all right, this can wrap up anytime. But yeah, I'd probably say those Summer Olympics. I'm not a big Winter Olympics guy. If it's on, I'll watch it. I'm not going to go out of my way.
It's tough just because there's not a lot of solid team sports in the Winter Olympics, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, I don't know a lot of the events and like
why
the downhill.
Is basketball in the Summer Olympics, not the Winter Olympics?
Because it's more of a. It seems to me, anyway, that it's. I've always considered basketball kind of a summer sport, even though it's played in the winter. In the winter, it's an indoor sport, right?
During the off-season in the NBA, they don't want to interrupt.
I mean, same things with like gymnastics and volleyball and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, it was, and Tom Horvath kind of just stayed Michael Johnson's gold shoes. That was in '96 Atlanta Olympics.
Yeah.
I remember watching. Obviously, the Dream Team.
Yeah.
I remember. Michael Johnson's golden shoes were amazing, just because it was so fun, and he just flew. You know what I mean? We had a great squad, a great relay team. So even like the track and field was great.
Yep.
The basketball was great. Our gymnastics team was fantastic that year. And geez, I was only 13 at that point.
Right.
So I was a young pup too back in '96. So it's and there. Oh, actually, there was the bombing that occurred. So that made it pretty memorable. That was pretty cool. We got a couple good ones here. Horvath did say the gold shoes. Zach French, Phelps winning all those medals. That is cool, but that stretches across a lot of Olympics right there. I'll tell you that much. Woo!
Yeah.
And then your dad, the '84 Summer Olympics, U.S. domination, first women's marathon won by U.S. lady. I did not know that.
Yeah, well, I was born 12 years after that. So.
I was one.
So we don't remember that.
Yeah, exactly. But good point.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Jeff. Thanks for the comments, guys, on that. So the next one along those same lines.
Sure.
There's some prestigious items such as a gold medal and stuff like that are given to athletes for winning and stuff like that. Now, this is good. Would you rather win an Olympic individual gold medal as like an insane underdog to where like kind of like Michael Johnson in the gold shoes and stuff like that, or win that green jacket at the Masters as a favorite,
Jacket.
So you just run away with it, not exciting at all.
I don't care.
Okay.
I would wear it every day. If I had a green jacket, I would wear it every day for the rest of my life. It's so iconic, man. Like you can't see a green jacket even as a minor sportsman and not know exactly what it represents. How many gold medals are given out in a Summer Olympics? Well,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like we're talking memorable gold medals. I don't know who won the Masters 2 years ago. But I remember
it was Patrick Reed, but I don't care.
You know what I mean?
I don't. There's only how many green jackets are out there? I don't know how many years the Masters has been. 100 maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's it. There's one.
I don't know. I don't care.
There's one per year, man. Masters, easy.
Okay, fair enough.
It's Augusta. Like, you know how I feel about golf, though. You know, golf is my
absolutely.
Golf's my dream. Like, if I was gonna be a pro athlete, it would be golf for sure. So.
What about winning like the World Cup again? You're not even supposed to be there. What's her name? Brandy Chastain style. I mean, how iconic is that? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. How iconic is that? I mean, think about it. Yeah, the winning penalty, it's all tied up. You make it, you win.
World Cup. You're right.
I might be on that too.
Okay,
and I don't even like soccer, so.
Yeah, man, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you're uniting a country at that point.
Well, same thing with Olympic gold medal.
But there's 100 sports in the Olympics. The World Cup is one sport and one team gets the trophy at the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. We got a couple comments.
Yeah.
Tom Masters, of course, every day. Collier Olympics gold medal. It was my dream as a kid. 1500 meter champion. Of course it was. Of course it was. Zach French, green jacket for Cheryl. Gold medal says that you are best in the world.
Yeah.
Which no, the Masters because you got 4 majors and stuff a year and whatnot.
It doesn't say you're the best. It just says you were the best that week. That's fair. That's a fair point. Yeah, I think if it was between the Olympics and the green jacket, I'd take the green jacket. But if we're talking the World Cup, man, that's the most famous.
I think
trophy
that'd be
in
pretty
sports,
sick.
Don't you think?
Or the Super Bowl, the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
That's true. All right, am I up? Is that all 3?
Yeah.
That's all 3. Yep. All right. NBA Finals starts tomorrow. Best finals performance you can remember.
Best finals performance. Honestly, it was LeBron, even though they lost it. Even though they lost the one that they lost.
They lost it? Okay. Cool.
Remember, he was going to be MVP, and they lost.
Yeah, he almost was. Yeah. That's
he took the whole time.
I was going to say
LeBron
the year that they won
it,
but I was just curious if that was yours as well. Yeah, and I would like to preface my opinion on that with the fact that I was rooting so hard for the Warriors, not LeBron, and not the Cavs. So I hate them, but he played great.
I do too. I can't stand him.
Number 2, Tiger and Peyton Manning played in a pro-am together.
Okay.
And I just wonder, what did they talk about for 5 hours? Like, what do you think? What do you think that Peyton Manning and Tiger Woods walk around talking about for 5 hours on a golf course?
Goodness, what if they didn't say a word to each other?
It's just super awkward.
Yeah, they're just like all by themselves the whole time, like 0 words. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Like, but seriously though, they're both so rich and so famous. Like, what did they talk about all day? They had to just walk around together.
Oh my goodness!
Can you talk about wanting to be a fly on a wall?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I want to be glued to Tiger Woods' golf bag.
To be honest with you, Peyton's such a goofball that he probably just asked Tiger about golfing all day long. Like, what do I do? What do I do here? What do I do here? What do I do here? And then he'll like shank it.
He was probably cool with it.
I'm sure he was. Yeah. I'm sure he was. Or Tiger,
Marva said insurance. That's hilarious. Peyton's just slipping nationwide comments in there left and right.
Oh, that's awesome. I like it.
That's awesome.
I like it. That's good. Neck issues.
That's messed up.
That's dark, Allison. That's dark.
That's messed up. All right, my last one. Tim Tebow has been in AAA all year. He's now hitting 161. He just got struck out by a position player who had never pitched before. Do you think he'll ever see an MLB roster?
No.
Or do you think he should just become an analyst?
Probably an analyst. I mean, he's a stud as an analyst. Everyone really likes Tebow.
He's great.
Everyone
he's very
really
articulate.
likes Tebow. Yep.
Super. Yeah.
I tell you, we ate dinner with him down in New Orleans when we were down there for.
That's crazy.
Sat like from me to you away. I
want to see him play in the MLB, man.
I mean, why? He's just gonna. I mean, he'll strike out.
I want him to hit 1 home run. I want the guy to get 1 career home run in the MLB, and that's it. After that,
let me ask you this: were you actually a Tebow fan?
Yes, I think he should have stayed in the NFL. If I was the Broncos, I never would have let him go. He won a playoff game.
What do you think of that, Scotty? If you're still watching.
I've talked about this. I don't think I've talked about it with Scotty, actually. It's funny because he's the only Broncos fan I know. Well, he's one of a handful of Broncos fans I know, but he's probably the biggest. It was ugly, always. He'd go 9 of 21 with 115 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks, but they would win the game. And at the end of the day, what matters? Wins and losses.
AKA Trent Dilfer, Super Bowl champion.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And guess what, guys? Let's face it. Tim Tebow has more playoff wins than Matt Stafford does.
That's a fact.
It's just a fact, folks.
You know, I bet you could come up with a pretty good list of quarterbacks that don't have a playoff win, and Tebow does.
Some very good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Because I think Stafford's a good quarterback.
I think Stafford's a really good
He's a solid tier 2 quarterback and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So hopefully he can lead us. Yeah, Scotty. Yeah, she wasn't too hard on the eyes, was she, buddy? I remember eating with Tebow's Mrs. Universe fiance. Yeah, they weren't engaged yet. They weren't engaged at that point. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, that's a good round of Call the Three, folks. Again, thanks for joining us. We'll go over some other quick news really quick. Sorry about that. A little redundant. Sorry about that, folks. But we got NBA Finals starting tomorrow, as G mentioned earlier. It's in Toronto. G, I mean, who do you got? You got Golden State by a ton. Before you answer, we got Zach. Never play big leagues. If Michael couldn't do it, he never will. And he probably still could be a backup in the NFL. Exactly.
He could be a backup in the NFL, but no one will sign him. It's so...
That's kind of what we're
That's
saying.
Why he went to
right?
play baseball. I think the Warriors.
So yeah,
will win
who do you got?
Warriors in 6.
Warriors in 6, really?
Because they're gonna.
That's what a lot of people have been saying.
They're gonna split the first 2. They're gonna win both at home. Then they're gonna win. Yeah, I think Warriors will take game 1. Toronto will take game 2. Then Warriors will win 3 in a row.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take Warriors. You know what? I'll take Warriors in 5 just to be different.
I will say this though. This is, as a Warriors fan, this is the first time I've been worried going into the finals. Even when they lost to the Cavs, I thought they were going to run them. I really was super confident that the Warriors would win.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that, G?
That I'm worried?
No, why are you a Warriors? What do you want?
I've liked the Warriors ever since they had Monta Ellis and Baron Davis. I loved both of them. They had 2 little guards running around, and I thought they were cool, so I liked them since then. And then they drafted Steph, took a chance on a short little shooter out of Davidson College. You know?
Yeah.
They drafted, and I think that's the other thing I like about them is prior to the KD thing, they built through the draft. They didn't trade for people. They drafted Harrison Barnes. They drafted Draymond Green. They drafted Steph Curry. They drafted Klay Thompson. Mm-hmm. They were whether they were winning or losing, they were drafting the best players on their team. So I became a fan of them, and I didn't love the KD move, but I'm not going to complain as a fan to have him add another.
Well, it's cool that you actually liked him for a while. I used to like Baron Davis too. I thought he was an awesome dunker.
Davis. They had Jason Richardson too. I know he's a state guy, but the dude could dunk and shoot. They were just fun to watch.
Yep, got a lot of people saying Dubs in 5 and stuff. James McKinley, Dubs in 5. Tom goes, would you throw a game to win a championship game at home?
No,
I don't think
you can.
You can't risk
it, man.
You can't risk it. Yeah. Bill Buckner died this weekend. Did you mention before I got on? Nope. Yeah. Bill Buckner.
Yeah, R.I.P. Man. I mean,
yeah, that's too bad. Oh, also Bart Starr died earlier over the weekend and stuff.
Rough week. R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. guys. That's kind of a shame. So, other than that, G, what else? What do you got going on this weekend, buddy?
Dude, I'm pretty free. Me and my friend Chelsea are playing over at Nightlight on Friday night, but that's about it. I'm gonna play some golf and gear up for this Nashville trip next week.
You got a Nashville trip coming up?
Yes, sir. Next week.
What's going on there?
CMA Fest, jamming, listening to music.
Are you playing or just
I wish.
Just listening?
I mean, I might try to jump on a mic night or open or like a writer's round. But
that's cool because last time you went down there, don't forget you lost your voice and we had to.
I did.
In our midst,
Yeah,
you think you have that chance again or?
To play out down there again? I mean, maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
Is there always an opportunity? Because how'd that happen, actually?
I just started beating down their door until they let me know. I just called them and said I wanted to play. They said, okay.
So, fair enough. All right, guys. Well, G, head on down to Nightlight on Friday night to see G play. We got to see a little bit of you this past weekend. It was a good time. Great Memorial Day weekend.
You were not impressed.
Yeah. No, it was a great time. So, again, thanks for joining us, folks, on the A to G show tonight. Thanks for the comments. We really appreciate it. Don't forget you can catch this podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. I'll post it later this week. I'll try to start posting it at the same time every week, guys, just so you know when it comes out and stuff like that. It will be on YouTube if you missed it tonight. Let your friends and family know. Make sure you share. Make sure you like. Give us some publicity. Again, we want to get as many people as we can watching this, get the comments flowing and stuff like that. I think it was a really, really solid night for the discussions and stuff like that. So, Adam Amble, Garrett Collier, thanks. We will see you guys next Wednesday, 9 o'clock, right here on Facebook. Have a great weekend, guys.